In today's 5-Minute Gardener, the ABCs of pruning your rose bushes. It's that time of the year to cut them back. Our 5-Minute Gardener, Debbie Mounts from Harlow Gardens, is here to show us how it's done, because there really is a way to do this. You can't just hack away. There's a method to the madness.
There is a method to the madness. If you do it properly, the roses will really reward you and come back strong. And I'm going to try and show you the most simple method that I know. There are 3 things you need to do. The first thing you do is you go in and you check your bush for anything, any canes that might be totally dried up.
Okay.
And whatever cuts you make, you always take the cane. If the cane is this long and this much is dry, you take it all the way down to where it meets the other cane.
Okay.
Now on this bush, it's a pretty young bush, so I don't see anything that's dried up. The second tip is to go in and take out anything that is thin or spindly, or
maybe not, you want your bush to have a kind of a nice round look to it.
Yes, yes, and that's the thing you want to do next, is to go in and take out anything that's small or spindly, and again just take it back to where it meets the other cane.
Okay.
I'll take some off of here. Okay. Now it's funny, when I cut roses, generally when I'm done, I kind of shock people. People don't ever ask me to cut their hair. I've noticed that, because after they see me do the bushes, they say, forget it, man, she's scary.
Yeah.
So what you do is you go in there and you cut out all this stuff.
And what's the point of doing this? Why not just leave it alone? It looks pretty the way it is.
Well, here's the deal. What happens is roses in nature naturally do this self-pruning thing. So what we're doing is we're going in and we are just speeding up their natural process. And the other part of the story is they don't really bloom except on new wood. On old wood, you'll get a few spindly blooms, but you want all that new wood, because that's where you're going to get your bloom from.
Okay.
Now, when I'm done, I want this to have kind of an open shape. Okay. It's kind of like what they call an urn shape, with all of the canes on the outside. Okay. And this is probably going to be the fastest pruning I've ever done in my life here. So I'm taking out this, I found a little thing that's dried. I'm taking out anything that's little.
See, now this one here looks like it's kind of out of there.
It's out of there now.
Okay, all right.
So what we're going to do now, the next thing you want to do is, now I've kind of gotten down to a basic shape. And what I'm going to look for is along the stems, let me get my glasses on because I can't see otherwise, is look for spots where you'll see a swelling, and that's called a bud. And usually you want to make your final cut above a swelling along the cane, like here, Martha, see this right there?
Oh, yes.
That's a bud. So your final cut goes a quarter of an inch on an angle right above a bud. And so you keep moving around the bush, looking for those buds. As you go, you pull off the old leaves.
Right, right.
Because you don't want this plant to put any energy into holding on to old leaves. You want it to put in energy into holding on and producing those new leaves.
Lord, you're not leaving much rose bush.
I'm not leaving much rose bush. And a couple of years ago, I had a lady in my class that, oh my gosh, you cut it so hard. And I said, I do cut it hard. And she said, she came back to me a couple months later, and she said, I listened to you and I did what you'd said. And my neighbor said, oh my gosh, you're going to kill your rose bushes. And she said, then she came back and said, your rose bushes are so beautiful.
Look at that. So really, you're going to cut off all the green stuff.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much. And you do want there to not be, like I said, one single leaf when you're done. Now you do a light pruning in September. Now this is a young bush. Normally you may have many more canes. I'm going to cut this out because it might rub on the other cane. And we're going to leave this guy up here. Now this one doesn't really have a good marking for a red swelling. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to find a little elbow here. This is what I call an elbow. It's like a little marking along the cane. I'm going to cut that off, and then we're going to cut this off, and it is done.
Oh, Lord.
Now what you do, poor thing, it looks really pitiful, doesn't it? But it won't. Yeah. It'll come back strong. Okay. What you do is you want to seal these cuts.
Put a little Elmer's glue
on it, and you can buy the fancy pruner sealers and all the rose sealers, and I'm here to tell you
that Elmer's glue works just as good.
It'll keep the borers out of there, and borers are a little bug that get in the center of the cane of the rose.
And it doesn't hurt the plant.
It doesn't hurt the plant. And the borers, but the borers will.
Yeah.
They get in there and they hollow out the center of the cane, and then you lose that entire cane.
And if there's another frost, will that plant be damaged?
What'll happen is the only thing that will damage a rose in Tucson with the cold is if it starts to put on its new growth and we get a good couple hard freezes, it will damage that new growth, that tiny tender new growth. But the rose will kind of hunker down and replace it. It'll come right back.
Okay, you'll have to bring this back.
I will. I'll bring it back.
All right, and
I'll bring
we'll
it back.
check it out when it
We'll
comes
make
back.
sure it recovers.
Yeah. Thank you, Deb.